And Giorgia Meloni has, so this is what Peter Sweeten says. He says, Giorgia Meloni has spent the last 2 years as the only politician in Italy fighting against the COVID passports. Now the Italian people just elected her as prime minister.
This is the guy he's quoting. Peter Emanuelson, better known as Peter Sweeten, is a far-right speaker and activist. Emanuelson was originally a Holocaust denier, white nationalist, extreme homophobe, flat earther. Oh my God, Jimmy. This is so bad. Is there no one on your team, not one person who knows how to use Google? I don't, maybe Alta Vista is more your speed, or you need Yahoo or Ask Jeeves, anyone? But holy shit, Google these people before you put them on screen as like authoritarian. Like, this is an authority on the topic. Well, do you see what this individual here said and tweeted? I mean, I don't really know who he is, but I like the statement that he's making. You know, here we go.
So there's a new prime minister of Italy, eh?
Italy.
And you want to hear? Everybody's
Italy.
making a big deal out. Here's her speech. And let's listen. So you know what I'll do? Because we still
you don't speak Italian, but
I don't speak Italian.
Okay.
But if I could, I could really speak it. So I'll do it. I'll read it out because there's a lot of people who listen to this show as a podcast. So I will also interpret. Here we go. She says, this is about what we are. This is about what we are doing here today. Why is the family an enemy? Why is the family so frightening? There is a single answer to all these questions. Because it defines us. Because it is our identity. Because everything that defines us is now an enemy. For those who would like us to no longer have an identity and to simply be perfect consumer slaves, and so they attack national identity, they attack religious identity, they attack gender identity, they attack family identity.
I feel like
I can't define myself as Italian, Christian, woman, mother. No. I must be citizen X, gender X, parent 1, parent 2. I must be a number. Because when I am only a number, when I no longer have an identity or roots, then I will be the perfect slave at the mercy of financial speculators. The perfect consumer.
By the way, the reason why people are accurately using this specific clip to point out that she does have what you would say fascistic light beliefs is that it's this idea of national identity, very proud nationalism that is rooted in, of course, certain traits, which happen to be cis, white, you know, woman in this instance, and that needs to be protected, and that there are elites or financial institutions that are trying to remove our identity. Globalists, if you will. Yes, some people behind the scenes controlling the levers of power, that kind of shit.
Now, this is wild that she's saying these things. Well, I'll finish and then we'll come back. The perfect consumer. That's the reason why. And then she finds a poem. That's why we inspire so much fear. That's why this event inspires so much fear. Because we do not want to be numbers. We will defend the value of the human being. Every single human being, because each of us has a unique genetic code that is unrepeatable. And like it or not, that is sacred. We will defend it. We will defend God, country, and family. Those things that disgust people so much.
He wants to ban same-sex marriage, same-sex adoption, and possibly revoke parental rights of same-sex couples that have already adopted children. Well, I mean, no surprise there.
We will do it to defend our freedom, because we will never be slaves and simple consumers at the mercy of financial speculators.
He's going to interpret all of this as communism, right? I assume that's where this is going. He's going to bring on Kurt Metzger and Jackson Hinkle, and they're going to explain to him why that belief is actually completely accurate.
That is our mission. That is why I came here today. So it sounds like she wants to stand... It can't be. But from that, it sounds like she wants to stand up to the capitalists. She sounds like a communist.
I knew it! Okay, honestly, this is why, and Jackson Hinkle, I would pretty much label as just a full-blown like MAGA conservative now, but Jimmy Dore loves to say that he's a leftist simply because he hates the Democrats. I hate the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm a leftist. That's what it is, right? But this is what zero theory does to a motherfucker. Because as much as he likes calling people shit libs all the time, the liberal fucking mind rot is not equipped to deal with these kind of topics. If you have no historical analysis of how fascism came to rise and how the language she's using is at best coded versions of a lot of the same themes, then you're going to hear what she just said and think that she's an anti-capitalist, which by definition means you are communist, ergo vis-a-vis. I figured it out. I cracked the code. Like, the rise of fascism, both in Italy's Mussolini or in Germany's Hitler, both cases required huge economic downturns, the Great Depression, massive rise in inflation, and then strong figures coming by stating that they're going to reclaim their country, make them the wonderful empires of old that they used to be, and they're going to other a specific group. In Germany, it is the othering of Jewish people, specifically Jewish bankers, and a lie is propagated that Jewish bankers control the majority of German banks, whereas there was only one German bank of the major four at the time that did have a Jewish director, but that notwithstanding was not the cause of the financial downturn. Suddenly they can blame it on someone. They can blame it on that case on the Jews. And you know what? You need an authoritarian dictator who's going to become very nationalistic and hyper war driven in order to take back your country, take back all of this fallen and decayed and degenerate society. That is also in it as well. Look at all of the gay people, look at all of the trans people, look at all of these degenerates that we have amongst us, look at the fact that we have people who need assistance in some ways. Then we're going to start vilifying all kinds of groups. We're going to vilify the Roma, we're going to vilify people who are disabled, we're going to vilify people who are queer. We're going to use all of these as scapegoats of these are the problems with society. This is the decay of the moral fabric of society, and it's them. It's all of this. It has nothing to do with capitalist systems. The richest amongst you under this new dictatorial authoritarian will be able to continue to be rich. We're going to save capitalism. This is capitalism on life support right now. As you can tell, Great Depression, inflation, everything's going really bad for everybody. Well, guess what? We're now going to have state control come in. We're going to go far-right authoritarian fascist. That's what it is. And we're going to save the capitalist system in the process. So those amongst you who own the industries, who own the factories, you continue to make continue to make money, and you will get oversight by the Nazis, right? That's going to be a part of this. But at the same time, you will continue to amass vast amounts of wealth. Now, there is certain stories, I'm sure everyone here obviously knows is the really famous one, like Schindler's List, where you have an industrialist who is overseen by the Nazis, yes, but uses his factory as an opportunity to try and save as many Jewish people as possible by having them be workers in his factory rather than going to concentration camps. There are examples of that happening, yes, whether it's for altruism or whether it's for people wanting to make more profit is another matter for history. But that's why, everything being said, Jimmy Dore would see this and hear this, and his brain would just be like, oh, okay, so she's talking about the global international banking system and the elites and the globalists, and says that she doesn't want to be a sheep to them, and she doesn't want to just be a number, and that we should be a proud white Christian nation. Well, I mean, that's communism, right? This is communism.
That's what she sounds like. But everybody's saying she's a fascist. Now, remember what fascism is. Mussolini, who everybody says she's following after, and she said nice things about Mussolini. Mussolini is the one who defined fascism as the coming together of corporations and state to screw over the worker, right? So for the benefit of the corporation and state, not the citizen. And they're saying she's a
fascist. Do you think she's running on a platform of breaking up all the major companies in Italy and giving them back to the workers, of letting the workers have all the means of production in Italy? Jimmy, citation needed massively. The logo of her political party today that they wave and that she won under is the flames on the cemetery of Mussolini, honoring him. That's who this is.
Fascist, but she sounds like she's standing up to the capitalists. She sounds like she could be a communist.
What are you talking about?
And she says Chesterton wrote more than a century ago. Listen to this quote. Here she goes. She has to find it. Chesterton wrote, "Fires will be kindled to testify that 2 and 2 make 4. Swords will be drawn to prove that leaves are green in summer. That time has arrived. We are ready. Thank you." Whoa.
Like a mic drop.
Whoa.
It's interesting that people are once again using the term fascist or
Clean up your room.
Mussolini, but a woman. I want to remind people that she was democratically elected. So what does that say? It means
liberal identity politics, girl bossing, nice.
That
but we didn't get Jackson Hinkle at least
by the people in Italy.
That's
towards
right.
Policies that were imposed upon them in 2021 and in 2020 and in 2021. And I know there's a lot of people on Twitter who are just spazzing out because, oh no, this person who said nice things about Mussolini are in office. I just want to remind them that we've had U.S. presidents commit open genocide, from good old George Washington, from Abe Lincoln. And the thing is, never forget the Nuremberg trials, where I forget what U.S. official asked which high-ranking Nazi official, but where'd you guys learn this? And the Nazis said, we learned it from you Americans on how you handle the Native Americans. We've had open fascist and genocide in the United States long before the term fascism came into existence. You think?
Clean up your room.
Two things can be bad. Multiple things can be bad. You get that, right? Like, just because you're stating one thing that is factually correct, that doesn't give you license to be completely fucking off base on this other thing. Like, this is by definition whataboutism. Well, I'm going to ignore the arguments, the credible arguments that you may have said or praised Mussolini at a certain point and say, hey, by the way, there are American presidents who have actively enacted genocide. So, what do you got to say about that? Checkmate.
We conquered the West through a handshake and a high five. There was a genocide that took place amongst the Native American population.
And
they were exterminated.
And so she is a back. So this is what people are saying, that
there are some of us still here. My mother, and by extension, half of me happens to be indigenous. And yeah, using that as some kind of justification for fucked up rise of fascism in other parts of the world is really fucked up, my dude.
She's a backlash. People voted for her just as you pointed out, a backlash to the authoritarian COVID policies. And Giorgia Meloni has, so this is what Peter Sweeten says. He says, Giorgia Meloni has spent the last 2 years as the only politician in Italy fighting against the COVID passports. Now the Italian people just elected her as prime minister.
Communism is when disease spreads. Was that in the manifesto? Because, wow. By the way, all of these assholes always ignore the fact that Lenin actually implemented vaccination programs because, yeah, even Lenin was capable of recognizing the potential health benefits of them.
So do you see how, because our politicians...
Italy was devastated by COVID? I don't know what Italy's numbers are. Italy's COVID numbers.
In America, Democrats have become so right-wing, so authoritarian, that they can make someone like DeSantis look appealing to people who...
The COVID-19 pandemic in Italy is part of the ongoing pandemic, blah, blah, blah. The virus was first confirmed. 1 week later, Italian man repatriated to Italy from Wuhan. January, the Italian government suspended flights to and from China, declared a state of emergency. 11 municipalities in northern Italy were identified as a center.
Clean up your room.
Italian government. Italy had tested about 48 million people. Due to the limited number of tests performed, the real number of infected people in Italy, as with other customers, is estimated to be higher. Yeah, May 2020, the Italian Institute of Statistics estimated that 11,000 more deaths from COVID-19 than the confirmed ones. This was later confirmed. What are the real numbers? Confirmed cases, active cases, hospitalized cases, critical cases, recovered deaths, 176,912. So what's the fatality rate is 0.79 though? You'd have to compare that to other countries to know whether or not they were decimated compared to other ones. I know at the start of the pandemic, Italy was one of the big examples of total and complete lockdown. They were one of the locations that did that, and Spain followed suit shortly afterwards.
Think that he's fighting for civil rights
first wave really
because he's standing up against authoritarian around COVID. Same thing here. So there's a backlash to your...
This is the guy he's quoting. Peter Emanuelson, better known as Peter Sweeten, is a far-right speaker and activist. Emanuelson was originally a Holocaust denier, white nationalist, extreme homophobe, flat earther. Oh my God, Jimmy. This is so bad. Just like, is there no one on your team? Not one person who knows how to use fucking Google. Maybe Alta Vista is more your speed, or you need Yahoo or Ask Jeeves, anyone? But holy shit, Google these people before you put them on screen as like authoritarian, like this is an authority on the topic. Well, do you see what this individual here said and tweeted? I mean, I don't really know who he is, but I like the statement that he's making, you know? Here we go. Former mood landing denialist, Islamophobe, conspiracy theorist crank who has written that the Jews in the Vatican are behind the New World Order. In 2017, Emanuelson was docked by the anti-racist organization Hope Not Hate. Oh my God, okay. I am putting this, we're making a thread now. It has gone from outrage to, oh my Lord. Like, I knew Jimmy was bad, but like, God damn, dude. Fucking putting Holocaust deniers up on screen as like authorities on the topics you're talking about.
Still live like fat cats. Their donors live like fat
That's
cats.
right.
And the thing is, ask the regular person how they feel when their entire world is taken away from them.
Italy had the second highest deaths per capita from COVID in Western Europe. Wow.
Take away something, when you take away everything from a human being and they have nothing left to lose, they will react rationally in an irrational environment and do what they can for them to survive in said environment.
Proportionally, Italy had about 50% less deaths than the US, by the way. Yeah, but I mean, freedom. I counterpoint. Freedom.
And so everyone that's panicking about this prime minister in Italy.
Why did a lefty come out? If they're why did you have a lefty come out against COVID passports and you wouldn't have to worry about this happening? The problem is the person who's supposed to be the lefty is to the right of the person who you say is a fascist. That's your fucking problem. Same thing in America. Joe Biden is to the right of people you're calling fascists. Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is a many thing. War criminal, neoliberal shill. You can add a long list of things to that. He is not to the right of Donald Trump or the MAGA Republican Party. I'm sorry. He's not openly advocating for the forced birth of half the population of the US. He's not openly advocating for trans kids not to exist. Like, they have gone very extremely far right. So whatever you want to levy at him, to say that Joe Biden is further to the right than the MAGA crew, than the fucking GOP, is absolutely absurd. Completely absurd.
Biden is the authoritarian. Joe Biden is the fascist. Joe Biden is the one who's screwing over workers, students, and any citizen in America at the behest of Wall Street or a corporation.
Like, Ron DeSantis is actively censoring literature. He's banning people from using genders and pronouns in schools. Like, they are the censorious ones. They are the ones who are distinctly going after specific groups, marginalized people, and vilifying them, and trying to point at them as being the problem for everything. Like, it couldn't be more clear.
So the problem is you don't.
He's so confused. Like, this must be like a distinctly like right-wing channel exclusively now, because I know there was this thing with Jimmy Dore where he would do like 5 or 6 videos that are like, you know, anti-vax light, Democrats are bad, Democrats are bad, Democrats are bad, Democrats, anti-vax light, anti-vax, anti-vax light, Democrats are bad. And then boom, he'd put one left-wing video up there where it's like, maybe we shouldn't be whipping people at the border. And those videos would get fucking mass downvoted. Because all of a sudden his audience is like, wait, what? Ew, no, yeah, no, I hate immigrants. Chicago water has extremely high lead, COVID fraud, NBC News sucks, fascist or communist, thanks assholes, good imperialism, Jeff Bridges snaps, are you kidding, unbelievable, no war, keeps happening, Biden, anything but that, bumbling Joe, out in the case, is it solved? Like, if you showed me this, trans teacher with giant fake, oh wow, the story that was making the rounds on almost exclusively right-wing and fucking far-right channels, Tucker Carlson, Matt Walsh, fucking, is now a Jimmy Dore story right here. Oh, good stuff, Jimmy. Yeah, if you showed this to someone with no knowledge of who Jimmy Dore is, similar to if you showed someone Tim's Pool channel, if you just look at this, what would your fucking impersonation be? I would be like, oh, so this is a right-wing anti-vax channel, I guess? That's what it is? Like, people always get so pissed off when you call people who, like, don't identify as right-wing, as having, like, right-wing beliefs, but then, like, it's like, are you just confused then? Is that why you're saying and doing the things you're doing?
Don't have a left party anymore. They became right-wingers. Guess what? So here's, at the Atlantic, they call it the return of fascism to Italy. Just like that.
And yeah, no, he's at the front and center of the Red-Brown Alliance. He has been for a while in terms of, like, YouTube pundits. Like, even fucking Tim Pool, milquetoast fence-sitter Tim Pool, who hasn't seen a fucking call to a civil war that he hasn't fucking come over. He soys every single time he hears those words. Even he's not like, we need to ally with the left, and the left needs to ally with the Boogaloo Boys. I think there needs to be an alliance between leftists and Boogaloo Boys, and that's the future. You know? That's coming from fucking Jimmy Dore.
They quote Hillary Clinton. You want to hear who's happy about her being elected? Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton says, the election of the first woman prime minister in a country always represents a break with the past, and that is certainly a good thing. She says it's a good thing inside of an article that says it's fascist.
So I guess Hill Dog is right, and Vote Blue No Matter Who needs to listen to I'm With Her. There we go. I mean, hey, if Hillary, I'm With Her, is saying she's all right, well then, hey, Vote Blue No Matter Who and SJWs and everyone else, calm down. Just calm down. Hillary gave the gold stamp approval. There you go. Stop panicking. Everyone calm down.
And again, this is the problem with gray zone geopolitical analysis, because if you're looking at the world through the gray zone lens, the only way you have to analyze anything is USA bad. That's it. It's America bad. No one else has agency. No other country can do anything bad. They're all benevolent and they're all trying to help out every single nation. That's why you would have fucking him and Jackson Hinkle trying to pass off Gustavo Petro as being a neoliberal shill. It's like, what the fuck? And the reason and justification for that was that he was calling out that he doesn't want resource extraction of his country to happen by either the US empire or China. And so because he said that, it's like, oh, well, yeah, he's a neoliberal shill, clearly. Yeah, because, I mean, obviously he doesn't understand the benevolence of Chinese resource extraction. And, yeah, that's pure neoliberalism 101 right there. That's definitely what this word means. And I'm going to keep using it and then talk about how he's actually a shitlib after all. Meanwhile, he goes to the UN and just gives this incredible speech that's just about how you capitalists are plundering the earth for every last resource. You want the oil that lines the fucking the ground we live on, but you do not care if we die. It was an unbelievably incredible speech, like one of the better speeches in UN history.
That's amazing. Hillary Clinton's on board for her. But so here, I'll give you some of the
Did you not see a problem going? Maybe there's a problem with the girl bossing and the liberal identity politics when the person in question happens to be a fascist or fascist light. Maybe liberals aren't equipped at all to deal with these issues, never have been historically. There's a certain point where the liberals break and they're like, well, I don't like the whole hating the Jews thing, but I do like capitalism and the splendors it gives me, so I'd rather preserve the capitalist system than go for that, socialism stuff everyone's talking about. Let's try out the fascism and let's try and save capitalism.
I saw. So here's Chernovich, right? So he's a solid right-winger guy, and he says.
So, wow, it's been a while since we watched Jimmy. He just flat out says shit like this now. Mike Serenovich, weird Mike, this is the Pizzagate guy. This is the guy who lied to his fucking audience that Hillary Clinton's emails had the word pizza in it and it was a code for pedophile, and because of that, people were abducting kids in pizza parlors for her use. He lies for a living. He has been fucking exposed for his lies so many times. He used to have one of the creepiest, rapiest blogs on the internet talking about how there should be things like consensual rape and choking women and stuff like that. He is a fucking monster of a human being.
He says misogynistic attacks on Giorgia Meloni disgust me. Now that's ironic because people say that he's a misogynist, right? So that's been the attack on him, right? That's what people say. So misogynistic attacks on Giorgia Meloni disgust me. She's the first female prime minister of Italy. So he's trolling these people. If you oppose her, you hate women. Because that's what I was told. If you oppose Hillary Clinton, you hate women.
Dore platform, Pizzagators like Eddie Brazzo. He was probably, maybe if he's not on the record, because he's a 9/11 truther. He's also a fucking... the Vegas shooting, he was a truther for that. That one's not really widely reported on. I think he was a Seth Rice truther as well, or sorry, Seth Rich. He loves his conspiracy theories. So if he wasn't publicly stating that he was on board for Pizzagate, maybe he was privately doing it. I don't know.
You're like the Iranian mullahs who think they have the power to control women. Evil. Mullahs. So he's trolling. He got a lot of action on that. So then Matt Vesco, blue check, says, make Italy great again. And then this guy says, Miga, please. That's pretty funny.
Oh no. I wonder when the Italian prime minister is going to say, hey, I want to rebuild the Roman Empire. European Union, move over.
Is this...
No,
Are you finding loopholes now? Are these N-word loopholes?
Empire return.
Fun stuff.
Show them the old school.
So Greg Price, he says, this is Italy's new prime minister, Giorgia Meloni. Now, right? I've never heard any politician so perfectly explain what we're up against and why we fight. He's referring to the video I just played you. When you watch this video, you'll quickly realize why the establishment is afraid of her. Well, it's weird. How could she be seemingly to stand up? Her speech is about standing up against capitalists, that they don't want to make us just another consumer, another number. She's against COVID, authoritarian COVID passports.
Oh my God, this is so ridiculous. She's not against capitalism. That is not her platform at all. She's trying to use coded language like globalists, elites, international bankers to be able to vilify them, to scapegoat them from the problems of capitalism to preserve capitalism. That's the entire way this thing works.
So I don't know. I'm not saying she's not a fascist because
it's a rule of the internet. Jimmy Dore, Jimmy, like Dore's law. After about 10 minutes before he will cite Michael Tracy as a source on anything.
Everybody's a fascist.
Michael Tracy, by the way, who has been doing a bit of a tour trying to blame the Holocaust on America. That's been a thing that he's been trying to do, And there's a lot of things that you can lay at the feet of the American Empire, for sure. A lot of horrifying crimes against humanity and genocide. Absolutely. The Holocaust ain't one of them. And it's super weird that he's still pushing that despite all the pushback he's getting. Like, even people in his camp are like, Michael, just, dig up. Come on.
fascist these days. Certainly Joe Biden is. The new prime minister allegedly ushering in fascism to Italy has also been a steadfast and strong voice of support for Ukraine and NATO. Huh. Does this mean that pro-Ukrainian, pro-NATO position is now fatally tainted by its association with fascism? I don't even know what this cartoon means. Do you know what this cartoon means? Does anybody? I don't even know what it means.
What I can get.
Why did you cue it up to talk about? I can get if someone was showing you material for the first time. It's like, hey, you should look at this link I just sent you. It's like, what is this? Oh, I don't get it. But this is your show. You're okay. All right. Is this basically the rest of it? Are they gonna wait? Are they ripping into democracy now? Oh, he hates democracy now. By the way,
somebody who was a hardcore neo-fascist.
Hardcore, but she was against the thing. Okay, she's for Ukraine. Okay.
Who was with 15, she joined the party that was founded right after Benito Mussolini's original party was banned in 1945. And this became the fourth largest.
Okay, what's your defense for that, Jimmy? Or what's your defense for the logo being the flames above Mussolini's grave? Like, I want to hear that. Because if you want to put forth that, like, oh, she was young, she didn't know she was doing, that would be different than, but listen to the words she says now. She hates capitalism, apparently.
This party, the neo-fascist party called the Italian Social Movement. And she was not only a militant, she became by the 90s the head of its student organization. Oh. And the flame, if you look at the logo of her party called Brothers of Italy today, which was founded.
Wait, why are you laughing at that? That's kind of a thing, right? Like, I can understand maybe like Hitler Youth, people when they're like 8 or 9 years old being put into that, and it's not their choice, and that's a weird thing to label them with later in life. But when you're a 15-year-old and then you want to run for the head of this organization in your school, you're starting to understand the way the world works. I'm not saying that you are 100% to blame. You're still a minor. That's true. But it's starting to paint a picture. We're starting to see a timeline. Things are starting to sync up here.
In 2000.
Why don't they talk about her policies that she's pushing? That's what I want to know about. She's talking about, oh, she wanted to make, well, listen to
her
this.
child, yeah.
She's talking about what she did when she was 15 and when she became a thing. What is she pushing now? What are you fucking afraid of?
Well,
what are you afraid of?
They're only holding on to the past because they know it's a good headline story.
Yes.
Whatever she does now, that's important.
Well, I mean, policies include a very heavy vilification of immigrants being the cause of a lot of the woes of Italy's current condition, a huge amount of, quote, corruption in the government and them wanting to replace it and clean the government, a vilification of the press, saying that the press is lying, classic signs there, returning Italy to its old great status of old. I mean, there's a lot of check marks going down, but
Telling me what she's doing.
That's what I want to know. So listen to what she's saying about this flag. Watch this.
Of her party called Brothers of Italy today, which was founded in 2012. She insisted on keeping a tricolor flame in the logo. And that is the flame, that's the symbol of the original neo-fascist party. And over the years, many people have told her to get rid of that flame, but she won't. So this tells us a lot about her loyalties, and she really sees her party as carrying the heritage of fascism into today, so much so.
Get off your phone, Jimmy. Address that. That's an important point. I know you want to hear strictly about policies, but that's kind of fucked up, no? That, the removal of ties to Mussolini was rejected by her, that she wanted to have those ties established, the symbolism behind them.
So that Ignazio La Russa, who's a party elder, let's say, he said a few days ago, we are all heirs of the Duce.
Let me go to a clip.
Did she say that, or is he just saying, oh, this is what somebody else said, or hearsay from so-and-so? Is this what the prime minister is saying now?
I think there's a video.
Key word.
Yeah, there was definitely a video of her when she was younger.
Sure, back in the past, she would have said a whole bunch of loyalty shit about Mussolini, and they tried to get the flames of Mussolini's cemetery removed from the flag, but then she rejected that, and she was part of an organization that she actually wanted to head that was actually very pro-neo-fascism and pro-Mussolini. Like, there's a long history of her basically being very pro-Mussolini, but, like, is she still? Is there any way to know if that's still a thing?
Said good things about Mussolini, that he was always working in the interest of Italy or something like that. Oh, by the way, the prime minister's name you were trying to think of was Berlusconi.
Oh my God. So wait, would that be okay if someone said that about Hitler, Jimmy? If someone was like, well, I mean, I'm not a fan of some of the things that Hitler did, but ultimately he did want to do what he did in the interest of the German people. So you got to give it to Hitler there, right? I mean, you got to give it to Mussolini.
Berlusconi.
Yeah, Berlusconi. Yeah, there you go.
So there you are. She's going to say she's a fascist straight up, but it's because she likes that flame in her flag. That's your reason? It's just like, come on. Come up with a better reason. Look at the pictures they are using, as if she's doing a Hitler salute. You see that? That's Reuters. Oh no, this is fake. That's Reuters pitch.
Was that your wife getting nervous, being like, "Ah"?
Oh, that's fake. Okay, good. I'm glad I noticed that, so I didn't get duped. But they are. I have seen this on other things. Oh, but here she is again. Does anyone believe this is from? I don't know who this is from. Somebody named Doge. Does anyone believe the media's portrayal?
You don't know any of your sources. You just promoted a Holocaust denier on your show, pointing to him as a source. Why wouldn't you look these people up?
Italy's new prime minister, Giorgia Meloni, as hard right. To the media, anything right of woke liberalism is far right. And here's from Mark Ames says this. He says, the reason we don't hear 24/7 media. So his first tweet is that we're only 7 months into this wretched war, and already the neo-fascists are back in power in Italy. And for the first time since Mussolini, and neo-Nazis are in power in NATO's newest member, Sweden. And he says the reason we don't hear 24/7 media political alarm about this is that both Italy's neo-fascists and Sweden's neo-Nazi parties and Spain's neo-fascist Vox are pro-NATO. That's why. They're pro-NATO. They're pro-Ukraine and anti-Russia. Our ruling classes have their priorities. Stopping all fascism isn't one of them. But again, this idea that she's more I mean, I wish people... I'm
Okay, so policy positions include changing the Constitution of Italy on social issues. She opposes abortion, laws that recognize same-sex marriage or civil unions. At a rally, she spoke against same-sex parenting. Her speech became viral. There should be homophobia law. There is no homophobia. Oh, she's against anti-homophobia law because she says there is no such thing as homophobia. She would rather her father not have a gay child. You know, communist shit.
We'll, of course, be following this.
She has been accused of xenophobia as well as Islamophobia, as well as consistently vilifying immigrants, opposing multiculturalism, endorsing the Great Replacement and white nationalist conspiracy theory. Cool stuff. Communism.
Well,
they say she's anti-immigrant, she's anti-LGBTQ, stuff like that.
Well,
but to me, that's just a regular right-winger and sometimes a left-winger in the United States being anti-immigrant. Joe Biden is caging kids. And Barack Obama deported more Hispanics and caged more Hispanics than Trump did. So go ahead. I'm sorry, kid.
No, it's all good. So here's the thing. We have to remember the days before she was elected into office. Look what's happening in Europe and even here in America. Rising inflation,
That's
price
right.
of gas and food. So it's not only just, oh no, she said some nice things about Mussolini, right? But let's look at the economic environment in Italy. What are the people going through? High gas prices, heating, food, buying medicine, and so much more. And right now, with Russia shutting off that pipeline into Europe, I mean, people's lives are going to be severely impacted this winter. And if you have do-nothing politicians that offer platitudes and say, hey, we just got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, even though 2020 and 2021 were BS years that we abandoned you, people will react and go for something different. You said it yourself in 2016. Do you think people voted for Trump because their lives are great? No. People didn't elect Trump because they were so happy. No, people wanted something different. Now, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, explaining how these things come to pass and how fascism comes to rise in various moments in like human history is not the same as condemning these people. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, yeah, people voted for Trump not because they were all inherently racist, but because of the economic conditions. Okay, fine, but that doesn't change the fact that Trump's policies were racist, were xenophobic, did vilify people, specifically Muslims, stuff like that.
Choosing to be the cuck, not once
Build
but twice
the wall.
in 2016 and 2020. He chose to drop the ball. Trump, he at least rallied his base and fought for his election in 2016 in the primary and in the 2020 general election and the 2016 general election and going into 2020 as well. So the thing is, if you're going to abandon people, then it should come no surprise that you're going to get a Trump or like this Italian prime minister. But yet,
like, I'm sorry, but the real analysis of that should be that the nonstop alternative to the far right candidates, whether it's like Macron versus Le Pen, whether it's, Trump versus Biden, cannot continuously be a fucking milquetoast neoliberal, because they are damaging to society, the planet, everything. They do not meet the material conditional needs of the citizens of these countries. So it cannot always be center right and far right. And which one are we going to choose between those two? There has to be alternatives. That was ridiculous. That was so much worse than I thought it was going to be in every way.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.